Flashback.
People are wondering, should Biden pardon his son, Hunter, or does that make him an even bigger target for you-know-who coming in? It's an interesting question, which I pose to you all.
Flashback.
Not only is Hunter Biden on trial, showing that no one is above the law.
No one.
President Biden has indicated if he is convicted, he will not pardon him.
No.
Okay, because no one is above the law.
Look at the picture of Joe Biden hugging his son. He stands with him, and he's not pardoning him because he's a true American who believes in democracy and the way the system is supposed to work.
Let's talk about what happened yesterday, because Hunter Biden was found guilty of 3 federal gun charges, the first time in history that the son of a sitting president has ever been convicted of a felony. President Biden said he respects the verdict and will not pardon his son. But apparently, this still has not convinced a lot of conservatives.
A few moments later.
Biden had a change of heart, granting his son a full pardon on tax evasion and federal gun charges. So it is a president's prerogative. People can say, oh, why are you doing that? But that's what presidents do every time. They do it every time they pardon somebody. So I'm not sure why the pearl clutching is happening now, except that that's what folks want to do. But it seems kind of foolish. You kind of knew he was going to do it, given all that's happened, but maybe I'm just kooky.
Pleased with the hypocritical pearl clutching by this country. Eric Holder, I think, said it really well. No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts that have been investigated for 5 years. Less than, get this, 0.09% of people are indicted, prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of lying on a gun form. The only reason that Hunter Biden was gone after and charged, indicted, and found guilty was because his name wasn't Joe Smith, it was Hunter Biden. And that's the truth of it. You've got Eric Holder saying it, you've got former prosecutors like myself saying it. So,
Why didn't he admit it earlier?
Wait.
I think one of the reasons why he didn't admit it earlier was because he didn't know that the felon-in-chief would become the next president.
So the hypocrisy of The View has come full force. At once, they were saying that President Biden, of course, shouldn't pardon his son. It's about the truth. Now they're saying we're okay with it. Let's talk about it. Okay, so if you haven't heard the news, President Joe Biden has reversed course and pardoned his son Hunter Biden. Here's what Joe Biden said before when asked whether he was going to pardon his son.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Now, if you haven't been up on the news, Joe Biden went back on that pledge and decided to pardon his son Hunter. But not just pardon him for the crimes that he was convicted of, pardon him for any potential crime that he may have committed since 2014.
The pardon goes beyond Hunter's gun and tax charges, also covering offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1, 2014 through December 1, 2024.
Now that's a pretty nice get out of jail free card. So let's see how the women of The View now square this circle, because remember, they were so proud to say Joe Biden's not pardoning his son because he's a good man and obeys the rule of law, to now he's pardoned them for even things that he may have committed. So let's see what they say.
President Joe Biden was persistently asked about whether he would intervene in the court case against his son Hunter. Take a look.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Yesterday, Biden had a change of heart, granting his son a full pardon on tax evasion and federal gun charges. He released a statement that, quote, says no reasonable person who looks at the facts can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he is my son. That is wrong, and there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Now, I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. So the question is, will people understand? I kind of feel like I look at the list of folks that you know who pardoned during the first term. He granted 237 acts of clemency, 143 pardons, and 94 commutations, including Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Charles Kushner, Steve Bannon, George Papadopoulos, Albert Pirro, and Lil Wayne.
Everybody.
I forgot about Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So now the argument that Whoopi Goldberg is using is whataboutism, right? What about Trump? What about it? She listed all the names, right? What about this guy? What about this guy? What about this guy? Not telling you that every president pardons people, especially people who are close to them. Like, for instance, Bill Clinton pardoned his brother. But if you look at the last 5 presidents and how many people they pardoned, Trump pardoned 237 people. Well, Barack Obama pardoned almost 2,000 people, almost 10 times as many. While George W. Bush pardoned just 200, and Bill Clinton, who pardoned his brother, what is that, 459 people. So there are a lot of people who presidents pardon. And the amount of people Trump pardoned is nowhere near the amount of people that Barack Obama pardoned. So this pretending that Trump's pardons were somehow abnormal isn't reality of the situation. But again, Whoopi Goldberg, she's just looking at this as Trump bad.
So pleased with the hypocritical pearl clutching by this country. Eric Holder, I think, said it really well. No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts that have been investigated for 5 years. Less than, get this, 0.09% of people are indicted, prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of lying on a gun form. The only reason that Hunter Biden was gone after and charged, indicted, and found guilty was because his name wasn't Joe Smith, it was Hunter Biden. And that's the truth of it. You've got Eric Holder saying it, you've got former prosecutors like myself saying it.
Now, the funny part about what Sonny's saying is now Sonny's saying it's a political prosecution. No one would have been charged. The only reason why he's being charged is because his name is Biden. But that is not what Sonny was saying before. Here's a quick flashback.
You know, what I will say is that in a case like this, it was a very easy case to prove. 3 counts. They took 3 hours to deliberate. But in these kinds of cases, somebody filling out a form who is addicted to drugs and lies about being addicted to drugs, about 0.9% of those cases go to trial. Okay, so that in and of itself makes it feel like a political prosecution, but I don't feel that way. I think no one is above the law.
Yes.
He committed a crime, and now he will pay the consequences. I don't think as a first offender and as an addict, because you're always an addict, we all have addicts in our families, whether we want to talk about it or not. I think that a drug diversion program is appropriate. He will never own a firearm again because he's a felon. Neither will Trump. Yeah. I don't think if you're an addict, you should own a firearm. Yeah. I think it's a safety thing for yourself and for society. But I will say this, he's got a tax trial coming up in September. And if you already have a prior conviction, you are much more likely to serve prison time. I would imagine his lawyers are telling him, go and talk to LA, go and talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office, plead guilty, and let's put this away so that your father can continue just running for president and you yourself can get on with your life.
Now, just to make sure you didn't miss it, she said personally she didn't believe it was a political prosecution. It was all legit. It's an easy case. But now, because Joe Biden did this pardon, guess what? It's a political prosecution. Right? Sonny's a hypocrite.
Yeah. But I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay.
Why not call it a lie? It's the definition of a lie. He knowingly misled everyone, saying he wasn't even considering a pardon. He wasn't going to pardon his son, and then he pardoned him. So why wouldn't it be considered a lie? But as you can see, protect Biden at all costs.
Why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it sets. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think for many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with. Because when we're talking about who gets a pardon and who doesn't get a pardon, this man, I think Biden had no intentions of pardoning Hunter. And I think the more stuff that went down, I think he said, well, why am I busting my behind to stay straight and do this when nobody else is, when no one else is doing it?
I think he thought he was going to win, and I just wish he would have been honest with the public.
Yeah, I agree with the, I say call it quasi-conservative. Biden thought he was going to win. We all know he thought he was going to. He thought Harris was going to win, and he didn't think this would be a problem. But since she didn't win and Trump won, now all of a sudden Whoopi wants to make it seem like, well, you see, Biden is an old man, and he really didn't want to do it, but he kind of had to do it, and blah, blah, blah. Like, just imagine if this was reversed. If it was Trump pardoning his son. Do you think they would have the same opinion? Like, this really exposes how on one side the facts matter, and on the other side it's all about how you feel about the person, because this is all about how they feel about Trump and Biden. We love Biden, we hate Trump. So even though Biden is obviously lying, we can't even call it a lie. We gotta call it, he really didn't mean to do it, right? They're both liars. Just call a spade a spade. And just for full disclosure, if I was Biden, I would be pardoning my son. So, don't vote for me for president, because if that was my son, I was about to leave office and he's facing decades in prison. As a parent, yeah, I'm a pardon, but I'm not gonna tell people I'm not pardoning. I might have played the game like, we'll see what happens. We're considering all options. Let me see kind of what happens. But at the end of the day, I'm pardoning my son. Sorry, it's just the way it goes. There are privileges if I'm president to be in my son, and that's going to be one of the privileges. And I would not deny Trump that ability to. If his son gets locked up in federal prison for something and he pardons him, of course. And for all you parents out there, for all you parents who love your children, I got to qualify with that. Would you not pardon your kid who's facing decades in prison if you had the power to do it? Maybe that shows you something about me, but I'm telling you, I'm doing it. But I think the issue here is Biden shouldn't have lied about it. Should just been straight up. I'd have respected him more if he said, you know what, we're going to see what's going to happen, versus I'm not going to do it, because he tried to play the game and that was biting him in the behind.
You know what? It's good for the goose. It's good for the gander. He did what he did. We're moving on. We'll be right back. Moving on.
So let me know in the comment section, how do you feel about the reaction on The View? I'm going to call it the left-wing view, because they couldn't even accept the fact that he lied. Like, it's clear that he lied. And to show you how locked in they are, they can't admit that Biden lied. And that, I think, is a sad part. It's the reason why people are turning away from broadcast media and the mainstream media and coming to places like YouTube. Because I can easily say Biden lied. I can easily say Trump's a liar, because it's true. And there is no political fallout, because when did it become wrong to just tell the audience the truth? Yeah, Biden lied about it, but I don't care because I'm a parent. If Whoopi said that, I respect her. But to try to make it seem like Biden was really right, even though he's obviously morally corrupt and wrong, makes you lose respect for the panel. But tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Say, hey, Nate, you got this one wrong, right? I agree. Now, again, I want to make it very clear. If I was Joe Biden, I'm pardoning my son. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have been saying I'm not going to pardon him. No, I wouldn't have done that, but I would be pardoning my son. And it's just, if I'm Trump and it happens to Trump's son, I would expect Trump to do it. You know why? Because it's your son. I'm sorry. As a parent, you understand it. Now, as an ideologue, you may not, but as a parent, I think most parents would understand that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. I'm out. Peace.